book, the Prophet, Khalil Gibran, says that as a teacher, you are the most important part of a young student's life. Your love of learning can be infectious and inspiring to any students you teach. Remember how you nurture the courage in a pupil's heart. You are a tutor, an enabler, and a caregiver combined. And you can and will make a difference. If you go back to your school life and watch yourself over there inside the classroom, listening attentively to your ideal teacher, opening to you thousands closed doors of science and knowledge. Do you remember her smile? Do you remember her beautiful voice blaming you for not doing your homework? Do you remember those days when she was so patient to talk and continued as she knew she had a class to finish properly? Do you remember how she used to dress? All those tiny details are stored there somewhere in your minds forever, simply because they are now part of your personalities, and they represent you. Now, it's time for you to have the same role, to be in the same position. And when you be there early in the morning, you would hear the beautiful teen students shouting devotedly, "Good morning, miss." At last, you are now participating in opening some more closed doors to knowledge, trying to be the ideal teacher you'll serve. Remember, they will keep watching the same tiny details that you have already had in your mind.
Good morning, my dear students. Today's lesson is an interesting one. We'll go to Asia, to Japan. We'll learn about Japanese traditions, and then we'll come back to Iraq.
Wow, Miss, this sounds wonderful. I'm very eager to know the details.
Well, I'm very pleased that you are interested. Now, let's see what are the objectives of today's lesson. Number 1, the students will know how to use the adverbs of frequency, which will improve their grammar. Secondly, they will know about the cultural differences between Japan and Iraq. Thus, through discussing them, they will improve the speaking skill. And definitely, they learned new words related to food, table manners, and the two cultures, adding to their vocabulary.
That was very informative. But please, Miss, I'd like to know how these objectives are achieved.
Be patient, my dear. Well, these objectives are achieved by the following steps. First of all, the students should be separated into groups. Then they are warmed up by using pictures or videos of the famous places in both countries. Also, they should be let to act out the scenes of the conversation between Fuad and Yuki. And a very important step is to let the students read some postcards and ask them about the information mentioned. And don't forget to check whether they have understood the usage of adverbs or frequency or not, by, for example, asking them to use these adverbs in sentences.
Thank you a lot, Miss. The steps are quite clear.
Thank you, Miss.
Well, I'm happy that everything is clear. That was an idea about the lesson, its objectives and steps. Now let's go deep and know the details.
Good morning, my dear students. I hope you are fine. So today we're gonna start with a new lesson. Are you ready?
Yes, Miss, we are ready.
Wonderful, my dear. So now I want to ask you some questions. Have you been in Japan before? Do you have any idea about what's going there? Like their culture, their clothes, their food?
Yes, Miss.
Wonderful, my dear students. So today we'll talk about a very beautiful story. Fuad, one of your colleagues, has met one friend from Japan, and he invited him to Baghdad, and they went to the airport to meet them. Fortunately, Yuki arrived with his family, and I'd like you to know the family members of Yuki and how Fuad has received them and welcomed them in Baghdad. After they welcomed the family in the airport, they took them to one of the most famous hotels in Baghdad, and Yuki met Fuad and they talked to each other. Now please watch this conversation on the TV, and I will ask you some questions afterwards.
Hello, are you Fuad? Yes, and you must be Yuki. Hello. How do you do? Fine, thank you. You're very welcome in Baghdad. Thank you. Actually, Baghdad is very beautiful. Yes, it is. So tell me about Baghdad. Baghdad is the capital of Iraq and the second largest city in the Arab world after Cairo. It is located along the Tigris River. The city was founded in the 8th century and became the capital of the Abbasid Caliphate. Oh, this is awesome. I'm so excited to be here. You will love it, I'm sure. Now, you tell me about your country, Japan. Well, Japan is the 11th most populous country in the world, as well as one of the most densely populated and urbanized. About 3/4 of the country's terrain is mountainous, concentrating its population of 126.2 million on narrow coastal plains. The largest urban area is the Greater Tokyo area, which is also the most populous metropolitan area in the world, with more than 37 million residents. That's amazing. Now, are you ready to start the tour? Yes.
So now, my dear students, you have just known who is Yuki and who is Fuad in the previous conversation.
Yes, Miss, we know them now.
Now, I'd like to ask you some common questions. What are the most famous places in Baghdad that you would like to visit?
Miss, I'd like to visit a Tahrir monument.
Miss, I'd like to visit Al-Mustansiri school.
Now, I want you to tell me what are the most famous places in Japan that you would like to visit?
Miss, I'd like to visit Mount Fuji. Miss, I'd like to visit the Golden Pavilion in Kyoto.
I'd like to visit Tokyo Disneyland.
Hello, my dear students. I hope you enjoyed this lesson with me. So, you know Yuki before in the previous part of this lesson, and you know he came to Iraq and visited his friend Fuad, right?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, well, today, do you know what we are going to do? We'll make a small act so that you'll learn about Japanese food and the difference between Japanese and Iraqi food. Are you excited?
Yes. I'm super excited, Miss. That will be fun.
That's good. So, let's go. Come on, eat, Fuad. Are you hungry? Yes, I am. But where do I sit?
We don't sit on chairs when we eat. We kneel on the floor like this. I see. We sit on the floor in my house.
Let's eat then.
What are these? Chopsticks. In Japan, we always eat with chopsticks. Oh, in my country we usually eat with knives, forks, and spoons. It's harder with chopsticks. You'll learn. Or I'll be hungry. This is very nice fish. How do you cook it?
We don't cook it. This is raw fish. We eat it with a sauce.
Really? At home, my mother always cooks the fish.
Well, sometimes I cook fish, but I like it this way.
Do you cook the meat?
Of course, we always cook meat. Have some of these vegetables.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's different from home, but it tastes nice.
Hello, my dears. Welcome back here in the classroom. So, let's see what we've learned today. I'll ask you some questions about our lesson. So, are you ready?
We are always ready, Miss. Yes, Miss.
So, the first question is, how do Japanese eat?
Miss, they eat with chopsticks.
Very good, my dear. So, the second question is, how the Japanese people eat the fish?
Miss, they like to eat it raw, but sometimes cooked.
Excellent! You seem enjoying with our lesson. That's amazing. Well, where do the Japanese sit when they eat?
Miss, they kneel on the floor and eat.
Very good, as the most Iraqi people are, right?
Yes, Miss, exactly.
So, how the Iraqi people eat? I mean we, of course.
Miss, we as Iraqi people eat with forks, spoons, and knives.
Exactly. So, the final question is, what did you know about Japanese and Iraqi people from this lesson in general?
Miss, the Japanese are similar to Iraqis in some customs, but there are differences as well. Yes, that's right.
Well, you did a great job, my beautiful students. Very good, and thank you. Hello everyone. As you all know, Fuad isn't here in class with us today. He's in Japan visiting Yuki at the moment. But he hasn't forgotten his friends here. In fact, he sent Saleh a postcard. Saleh, can you read the postcard for us, please?
Yes, miss. I'll read it now.
Hey Saleh, Japan is wonderful. Yuki's family have been really kind. They've just taken me everywhere. I visited Disneyland. That was fantastic. I've also been to a traditional Japanese play. I didn't understand a word of it, but it was interesting to see. Japanese food is delicious. I've even tried some raw fish, and it was quite good. I've bought a new camera for you. I hope you like it. See you soon. Thank you, Saleh. Your pronunciation is excellent.
Thank you, miss. I try my best.
Now, I'd like all of you to take out a pen and paper and answer the following questions. How does Fuad feel about his holiday? Note down the things he did in Japan and note down which ones he liked the best. I'll give you 2 minutes to write down your answers. Okay, time's up. Does anyone have an answer ready?
Miss, I do.
Okay, Tana, let's hear your answer then.
Yes, miss. Fuad enjoyed his time in Japan. He visited Disneyland and he saw a traditional Japanese play. He tried Japanese food and bought a new camera for Saleh. He enjoyed going to Disneyland the most.
Well done, Tana. You hit the nail on the head.
Thank you, miss.
Now, we can move on to another fun thing. Have you heard that Hisham received a postcard as well? He got a postcard from Mustafa, who's on holiday in France. Hisham, can you read it for us, please?
Definitely. I'll read it now.
Dear Hisham, France is fantastic. I've done lots of things. I've been up the Eiffel Tower. Everybody does that when they visit Paris. You can see the whole of Paris from up here. I've also visited one of the biggest museums in the world, the Louvre. It was really interesting. French food is different, but it is very nice. I've even tried some frog's legs. I've bought some new clothes for myself. And a CD for you. I hope you like it. See you at home in Iraq soon.
Thank you, Hisham. Your pronunciation is spot on.
Thank you, miss.
Now, I'd like you to take out another paper and answer the following questions, just like we did earlier with Fuad's postcard to Saleh. Where is Mustafa on holiday? What famous places has he visited?
What does he say about French food? And what has he bought? You have 2 minutes to write down your answers. Okay everyone, time's up. Does anyone other than Tana have an answer ready?
Yes, miss, I do.
Okay, Louise. Go ahead and read your answer out loud, please.
Yes, miss. He visited France. He went to the Louvre Museum and went up the Eiffel Tower. He said that French food is different, but it is very nice. He bought new clothes for himself and a CD for Hisham.
Well done, Louise. Your answer is correct.
Thank you, miss.
Hello, my dear students. How was everything?
We are fine, miss. Thank you.
So, I'm gonna talk about an important topic, which is adverbs of. I'm sorry. Can't tell you because I wanted from you to guess the topic next time. But I can tell you that these adverbs used to express things that use about 100% like, and about 50% like, and about 0% like. So now, let's move and discover what are they. Are you ready?
Ready!
Oh, my dear students, a while ago, your colleague Fuad, who has never been abroad, received a letter from his friend Yuki from Japan. Fuad and his father recognized Yuki's family by their class, because Yuki said a description to Fuad. Yuki's father always wears a dark suit, and his mother usually wears a kimono. You watch them moving into the dining room, and you learn some information you didn't know before. The first difference between the two families is how they are normally sitting when they are eating. Yuki's family always kneel on the floor and almost never sit on chairs, while Fuad's family regularly sit on chairs. The second thing, Yuki's family often eat with chopsticks, while Fuad's family periodically eat with knives, forks, and spoons. Then, you learned how the two families always cook meat. Yuki's family sometimes eat the fish raw and occasionally cook it, while Fuad's family always cooks the fish. You learned also that Fuad visited Yuki in Japan and sent a postcard to his friend Salah to tell him how Japan is like and what are the famous places that Japanese people usually get to. You also learned that Fuad doesn't speak Japanese and the type of food that Japanese people periodically eat. So now, my students, I will ask you some questions. Are you ready?
Yes, miss. We are always ready.
Salah, does Yuki's family dislike raw fish?
No, they don't. Because Yuki's family sometimes eat raw fish.
Fantastic. So, what about Fuad's family? I think they'll sometimes eat with knives and spoons.
No, miss. It's wrong.
because Fuad's family always eats with knives and spoons. Haitian, does Fuad always speak Japanese language?
No, miss. Fuad hardly speaks Japanese language.
Good job. So, what are the famous places that Japanese and Iraqi people usually go to?
Oh, miss. Japanese people always go to the Fuji mountain, and the Iraqi people generally go to the Freedom Monument.
Thank you, my sweetie. I hope you like this lesson.
No matter where I go, every time I look back on this road, you'll always be a part of who I am. Everything I've known, every seed of greatness you have sown, through good and bad, your love has watched me grow. You teach me right from wrong, inspire me to be strong. You carry it everywhere in my heart. You will always stay in this moment. Let me say how I'm grateful every day. You are here to guide my way when I'm lost beside me. Stay in this moment. Let me say you turn my little into great. There's no fear, my dreams away with you. All that I can be means so much 'cause you believe in me. You show me how to live with dignity. When the lessons end, I can share with you just like a friend. Your love and smiles and frowns keep me safe. You teach me right from wrong, inspire me to be strong. You carry it everywhere in my heart. You will always stay in this moment. Let me say how I'm grateful every day. You are here to guide my way when I'm lost beside me. Stay in this moment. Let me say you turn my little into great. There's no fear, my dreams away with you. Stay in this moment. Let me say